Do we truly have control over our own actions, or are we victims to persuaders and their knowledge of persuasive tactics which they use to manipulate us? To answer these questions, the average American is exposed to 5,000 persuasive advertisements every day. Whether we allow ourselves to submit to these tactics lies within our ability to identify them and defend ourselves against them. However, to truly understand the science and mechanism of persuasion, we must learn the popular theories and tactics used. Of the many theories and persuasive tactics, I will be discussing Aristotle's rhetoric, Rank's model of persuasion, and the mere exposure theory in further detail. In order to obtain a more clear understanding of persuasion, we must first explore the origins of systematic persuasion, which began in ancient Greece with Aristotle as a primary rhetorical theorist. Aristotle's rhetoric claims that persuasion consists of both artistic and inartistic proofs. Artistic proofs, or things that we are able to control, include the choice of supporting evidence, the organization and outline of the persuasive speech, the style of delivery, and the language choices. Inartistic proofs, or things that we are unable to control, include the occasion, the time given, and the speaker's physical appearance. According to Aristotle, the success or failure of a persuasive speech lies within the following three aspects: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is the source's credibility or social standing, pathos is the emotional appeals, and logos is the logical or rational appeals. An example of a persuasive speech is when a candidate for president acknowledges his experience and credibility, ethos, incorporates highly opinionated statements within the speech to create a sense of emotion within his audience, pathos, and offers rational resolutions to past failures, logos. Aristotle's rhetoric also refers to the widely effective tactic called common ground, where the persuader relates to the audience by establishing shared beliefs, values, and interests. An example of this lies in all diet aid advertisements, where the persuader often establishes common ground with the intended audience by relating his own personal struggle with weight loss, or by introducing a famous celebrity who has also struggled with their weight until using this product. Another effective tactic is the intensified downplay model, which was developed by Hugh Rank. This model of persuasion states that persuaders use two major strategies to achieve their goal: intensify or downplay. The intensified downplay model consists of four strategies where the persuader will choose one of the following. 1. They will intensify their own strong points. 2. They will intensify the weak points of the competition. 3. They will downplay their own weak points. Or 4. Downplay the strong points of the competition. An example of this is while arguing about their favorite television shows, Sarah continues to insist to Michelle that Grey's Anatomy is much better than private practice. Rank's model suggests that Sarah will use one of four major strategies to argue her point to Michelle. Sarah will either 1. Stress the stunning performances of the all-star cast while pointing out the numerous Golden Globe nominations. 2. Stress what she believed was poor acting by the private practice cast while pointing out the negative reviews of the show. 3. Downplay the weak plot lines within the scripts for the show. Or 4. Downplay the excellent performance by private practice actress Kate Walsh and her acclaims on the show. Another effective tactic is repetitive exposure. Robert Zonk's mere exposure theory, also known as the mere exposure effect, states that repetitive exposure to an unfamiliar stimulus results in a more favorable attitude towards that stimulus. In other words, this means that we acquire taste for things over time, and we can even get to establish a liking for things that we have found to be unpleasant in the past. The unfamiliar stimulus can range from people and places to commercial products and advertisements. This theory creates a sense of familiarity, and when we make choices, we often choose the familiar over the unfamiliar. An example of this is Proactive's #1 acne treatment advertisements on TV. By repeated exposure, viewers gradually start to like the product without ever having tried it. However, it is very possible to become sick of endlessly repeated ads, so advertisers must change the ad regularly. This is the such case for proactive, where excessive exposure has led to negative attitudes towards the stimulus. In conclusion, by examining Aristotle's rhetoric, Ranke's model of persuasion, and the mere exposure theory, we are able to have a more clear understanding of the theories and tactics used in everyday persuasion. From Aristotle's rhetoric, we learn of proper outlines and essential aspects to a successful persuasive speech, while we learn that similar tactics are used in Ranke's intensified downplay model, where persuaders will act to manipulate the audience's initial standpoint. Lastly, the mere exposure theory offers ample evidence to the success of repeated exposure, which is often used by persuaders to establish a sense of favorability within their intended audience. Nonetheless, the specified theories and tactics serve to increase our awareness of persuasion and offer to aid in our ability to defend ourselves. Remember, the key to persuasion is knowledge, for awareness is our only defense mechanism.